Hello and welcome to Canada for round 13 of the 2021 Formula Virtual World Championship. My name is Brady Doughton and I'm joined today in the commentary box by Robert Mathershaw.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Today then the drivers will tackle 52 laps of this 4.3 kilometre circuit, 13 turns winding their way around the Ile Notre Dame. Adrian Simon and Mathershaw have the most victories here at Montreal, but it was Klaas van Snelhoed who won out in 2020. What will happen today? Firstly, there are championship permutations to look at. Incredibly, Nathaniel Powers can win the drivers today. He will be champion if he takes the victory with Klaas van Snelhoed 7th or lower and Kanga 4th or lower. A win for Powers automatically eliminates the other contenders, Ruiz, Farini and Addison, from contention. That's not likely. The Constructors is far more plausible. Downton will be champion today if they do not lose more than 2 points to Mathershaw, Franklin and Lopez, who are tied on 199. A win and another result between 2nd and 7th guarantees the title for Downton. Let's take a look how they line up then. It's Enrique Ruiz in pole position with Klaas van Snelhoed lining up alongside them. Two front row men on the soft tyres, as are those on row 2. A stellar effort from Marcus Thunder and Lucas puts in 3rd, and it's the second Mathershaw of Adrian Simon in 4th. A great position then for Mathershaw to deny Downton the Constructors here today. Felix Perez starts from 5th, is the lead car on the Supersoft. Nathaniel Powers, a slightly disappointing qualifying for the championship leader, he goes from 6th. Elroy Wagner starts 7th and is the first of the cars on the medium tyres, so keep an eye out for him. Maximilian Thunstrom will be keen to get past him early doors. He starts from 8th on the Supers. Alar Kanga and Thierry Zylander, another pair of runners on the mediums, round out the top 10. Sergio Alvarez lines up just behind his teammate, and Nick Addison, a disappointing qualifying for Franklin. He is their lead car starting from 12th. Puccio Giordano, with a solid effort in the Ocelot, starts from 13th, just ahead of Timo Kinnaman for 14th, fresh from his points last time out. John Matson is alongside Alexander Zazolya for this race and comfortably outqualified his one-off teammate. He starts 15th, just ahead of Danilo Farini, who is where he lined up in Italy. Will Hoskins, absolutely nowhere near his teammate once again, starts down in 17th, just ahead of Jules Barkley, while Hunter Ryan and Johan Halverson in that North Star one-off livery for them this weekend, their 100th V-Prix, they complete the top 20. It's Takumi Takahashi who lines up 21st, just ahead of the lead AMR of Max Meyer. Finn Schneider is right behind his teammate in 23rd, with the second North Star of Rockhead lining up in 24th. And on the back row of the grid, we have Xander Benilton and Alexander Zazolya. As we go down to the grid then, it's Enrique Ruiz in pole position on the right, Klaas van Snelhoed alongside him on the front row on the left. The lights go out now and we're racing in Canada then. It looks like a fairly even start at the front, but Marcus Thunder looks as though he's bogged down slightly in 3rd, but it's Enrique Ruiz then who leads into turn 1 from Klaas van Snelhoed and up into 3rd. Up into 3rd goes Felix Perez then, up the inside of Adrian Simon and round the outside of Marcus Thunder, and that's a lightning start from Perez on the super soft tyres then to jump up into 3rd behind Ruiz and van Snelhoed. Thunder and Simon filter in behind him. Powers is still 6th and the two Lopez 7th and 8th.
Wow, what a start there from Felix Perez. Absolutely flying there on the super soft tyre. Interestingly, Ruiz and van Snelhoed just got away a little bit, but Perez already starting to reel the Dutchman in, so it'd be interesting to see how he can make inroads into that gap. In fact, he's already there. Absolutely,
Perez already looking absolutely mega quick as he's on the back of Klaas van Snelhoed. Here on the opening lap in Canada, it's Enrique Ruiz who leads then as they head to the hairpin for the first time. Van Snelhoed already having to look in his mirror, so Perez as Thunder is starting to drop back already.
Wow, I think Perez, it's only a matter of time before he's past van Snelhoed, and on this pace you don't have to think too hard to see.
Yeah, and in fact there he goes then. Wow. Perez pulls out as they head to the chicane for the first time, and Perez goes through immediately, and at the end of lap 1 then, Enrique Ruiz leads from Felix Perez, who's up to 2nd from 5th on the grid.
That is absolutely brilliant from Perez, and you could see there it was the traction out of the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. It just carried all the way through the Ford power plant nice and strong. Well, van Snelhoed didn't really stand a chance.
No, he absolutely didn't, and you sense Perez already looks absolutely mega. He probably won't be sat behind Enrique Ruiz for too long, but you've got to consider that the other drivers towards the front on the super softs, Powers and Maximilian Thunstrom, haven't really gone anywhere.
Yeah, Perez is a bit of a unique situation there. I think, as you say, Powers seems to be now bottled up right behind Adrian Simon, while Thunstrom has both of the Lopez's ahead. So it's
Thunstrom's actually lost a place.
Oh, he has, yes. That's not too good for the Swede, but I'm sure he'll be able to make some inroads soon.
Yes, almost certainly then, as they head down to the hairpin. As we expected, Felix Perez already right on the back of Enrique Ruiz. And I think Ruiz starting to defend because it looks as though I know we're only on lap 2, but it looks as though the top 6 have closed up ever so slightly from what they were. Behind though, Nathaniel Powers still unable to make progress, as is Maximilian Thunstrom, but we go on board with Perez, and he's eyeing up Ruiz's lead into the chicane then. He's not going to do it there and then, but I mean, surely that's a matter of time. He looks mega.
Oh, absolutely. Deep into the slipstream. To be honest with you, I think Ruiz needs to bank on the fact that these super soft tyres aren't going to go. In fact, best lap there with Felix Perez, 1:15.3. That's a great lap already.
Yeah, a bit wide there in turn 2 then. That's cost him a little bit of time and any chance of a run down here, although I think a move into turn 3 would have been audacious at best.
Oh, absolutely. I know Perez is one of the latest of the late breakers, but that would have been big even for Perez.
Absolutely. Just looking a little bit further down the field then in terms of the other super soft tyre runners. Hoskins also has had a fairly decent start. He's moved up 3 spots from 17th. Hunter Ryan has gained 2 places. Johan Halverson has gone back 1, and Max Mayer's gained 3 spots as well. So the super soft tyre runners do seem to have generally moved forward.
Yeah, I think it might just be a case that Powers and Thunstrom already kind of towards the front haven't quite had the delta. You mentioned Hoskins moving forward. To be honest with you, you'd kind of hope so with his teammate all the way up into second position now. Another disappointing qualifying for Hoskins, but I think based on his teammates' performance and Hoskins so far, it looks like they might be okay to move forward in this one.
Absolutely, as Ruiz and Perez head towards the final chicane then, looking like an 8-wheeled Formula Virtual car. Perez is that close up behind Ruiz's rear wing, but it is still the Brazilian that leads, as behind Hoskins. It's Hoskins dropping down the order. Maybe he won't make up any positions. Will Hoskins slips down and there he is. That's in the wall of champions. Will Hoskins.
That looked like a mega shunt.
Let's have a look. Yeah, on board with him then. Oh, the back end got away from him then, as he was trying to overtake one of the Franklins, and he's hit the end of that barrier, and that's going to be a hefty impact for Will Hoskins.
That's a devastating impact. Just lost the rear end on entry into the right hander of the chicane there. Just snapped back on him. That is a brutal incident there for the Englishman. Yeah,
and Will Hoskins then, who, let's be fair, has had a miserable season, save for that second place podium, I think at home at Silverstone. His qualifyings have been all over the place, but mostly towards the back, and that was absolutely not what he needed, as it looks as though he's after a seat for next year.
Yeah, I think that it's a cliche for definite, but if the man didn't have any bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
Sorry, I'm just going to cut across you because I think this is Perez going for the lead. He's pulled out on Ruiz. He's got the inside line. Perez goes through and takes the lead then of the Canadian V-Prix the lap after, and in the same place that his teammate just crashed out.
Yeah, big moment there for Perez and the first team in general. As you say, it's now mission critical. Perez needs to get his foot down, open that gap up as much as possible.
It's behind, that's Powers. Nathaniel Powers then up past Adrian Simon, and finally Powers is making use of those super soft tyres and has moved up into 5th, as I've just noticed behind Thunstrom as well has dispatched the 2 Lopez cars.
Yeah, absolutely there. I just happened to see Max Meyer moving past John Matson as well, so the South African really making some strides here on the grid.
Yeah, they certainly are. These super soft tyres really look as though they've hooked up here in the early laps around Montreal. As Enrique Ruiz now, I wouldn't say he's really fallen into the clutches actually of Van Schnellheid, but the 3 of them are still pretty much nose to tail, aren't they? Ruiz, Van Schnellheid and Thunder.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dutchman holding on a similar tyre, but I think it's only a matter of time before Van Schnellheid kind of absolute pace of the doubt and just ekes him towards the Brazilian. So let's see how that goes for him.
Absolutely, it'll be interesting now to see how much Perez can gap Ruiz up front. He's already over a second up the road, so these super softs looking absolutely rapid at the moment then, but Powers can't really do anything with them, it doesn't seem.
No, he doesn't seem to just have as much bite. It's a bit strange. Looking a little bit further back, Danilo Ferrini up to 12th position from 16th on the grid, only on the soft tyre as well. So has leapfrogged his teammate, but both of them still line astern behind the 2 Phoenix cars with yet another impressive qualifying performance for the Mancunians. Yeah,
absolutely. A stellar effort from Alvarez and Zylander, who have actually swapped positions from how they lined up on the grid. It was Zylander in the top 10, and it's now Alvarez. But yeah, 2 of them with another brilliant, as you say, qualifying effort. And they need that in their battle for 7th I think, in the Constructors' Championship with Ocelot and Ingram.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been another impressive season for Phoenix. Bearing in mind their relatively modest budget, and they don't try to stretch themselves beyond their means. They've outperformed once again.
Absolutely, well and truly. As Powers. That's what I was going to say. I just wonder. Obviously, Perez pushing on. He's desperate to try and get something out of this season. I think him and First expected to be slightly further forward than they are. And obviously, they're trying to defend 5th place in the constructors from Lucas as it stands. Powers, okay, he's on the super soft tyres, which, as you know, clearly look as though they've got a bit more pace at the moment. But he's also got an extremely comfortable championship lead, and Van Snelheid is only 2 places ahead, his main rival. I wonder how much of this is Powers just sitting there going, you know what, I don't need to make a risky move. If something clear comes up, I'll take it. As for now, I'll just sit here.
You do raise a very good point. I think Powers, we've seen before.
That's a move. That is, bold. Yeah, Johan Halverson then with a late move down the inside of Alexander Zolia, round the outside of turn 2 to get that one done. And it was a bit late, but he pulled it off.
He got there, and he wasn't $1 short. He had the full price there. That was pretty good.
Absolutely.
Zolia there getting another rude awakening on his return to Formula Virtual this season, so that was an interesting one.
That's not a bad start. He was last on the grid, and he's now 20th. Okay, he's just lost a place, but
that's a very good point. And actually, looking at everybody ahead of him, who started ahead of him on the grid, equal or harder tyres, or equal or softer in terms of the super soft, obviously. But that's a pretty good performance there. I mean, one position will have been from Hoskins' unfortunate departure.
Absolutely is. There we see Maximilian Thunstrom. Sorry, that is Thunstrom going past Adrian Simon, and these super soft tyres still holding on then here. 8 laps into the race as Thunstrom breezes past Simon into 6th.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, another car in the wall! That is that one of the AMRs? It's Mayer. It's Mayer dropping down the timing screen.
Oh, that's devastating. Nice to see the cars that are now coming through the chicane adhering to the yellow flags there nicely, just avoiding any further incidents. But that's devastating. I thought Mayer was driving really well. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, on board then, and exactly the same thing that happened to Hoskins.
It's the same thing we've seen through there, that even when cars look relatively in control, they're still a little bit loose on that turning, and it got the better of one of the best drivers on the grid in my opinion, in Will Hoskins, despite his performances this year, and now it's got one of the talented youngsters caught out as well. So
when you said one of the best drivers on the grid, I thought you were on about Mayer. I was going to say that's really bigging him up.
Well, I'm a fan.
He's all right. I wouldn't have gone that far.
Not yet.
Yeah, no, very, very good point. And interesting to know, both those drivers then who've had that incident at the final chicane on the super soft, the grippiest tyre.
What we might be seeing, because it's relatively low temperature, so what we're seeing though is the tyre grips up when you get the heat in it, but you might find that if they don't quite cool the surface of the tyre down enough, you might get that graining effect. And you might find that, if they've just been in the slipstream a little bit too much or something like that, the tyre's just starting to grain on the surface, and it's exactly like your pencil eraser when you're at school. You push it too hard and it starts to rub across the track with the marbles rather than actually gripping in with the compound itself. So you might be seeing something like that. These soft tyres, the super soft tyres, bit of a double-edged sword as well. We can see the good side of this with Felix Perez now nearly 4 seconds up the road. Absolutely,
I was just about to say that. Fantastic analogy. But yeah, that one driver who's not suffering any graining at all is Felix Perez. As you say, 4 seconds clear now is the Mexican, and this is looking pretty solid already for him.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that the first performance generally improves when they're on North American soil, but once again, they are driving really well.
Certainly is, and this is it's just making Hoskins look worse and worse, isn't it, at the moment? But Perez,
such a shame.
Be interesting to see how much further he can stretch this. Then, what are we? I mean, we're probably given this a 52 lap race here. It's a fairly short lap. We're probably a handful of laps away yet from a pit stop window. But if we're assuming the super softs are going to be a 3-stopper again, as has sort of been standard this year, when are we looking at?
About lap 13, 14, isn't it? It's 13 fours would be 52. So
there we go.
Would it? Yeah, I can do maths.
13, 4, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so that would work perfectly. If they pitted lap 13, they'd get 4 beautiful stints,
Yes,
all of exactly the same length.
Equal. Use up the tyre nice and evenly.
Yeah.
So yeah. One thing to note with Perez, I think that what he's got is because he's got the clear air, he's not having to quite worry about the surface of that tyre overheating enough as much. But what you also get is the idea you can there are two schools of thought, and what Powers might also be doing is just holding back on pushing that tyre too hard, because if it starts to grain, you can either bring it back by pulling away from the pace just a little bit, just to stop that graining and reduce the surface temperature, or you can do what Perez might well be doing and absolutely just banging out the lap times, push through that phase and get down into the deeper compound of the tyre. So we might be just seeing as well two different ways of managing the same tyre.
Yeah, very much so. And I think this is brilliant still here, isn't it? We've got, second down to 6th, all absolutely nose to tail still. Ruiz, Van Snelheid, Thunder, Powers and Thunstrom on a mix of the softs and super soft tyres. But yeah, still, Powers and Thunstrom not making any progress through this little trio. As there we see another late move into turn 1. And is that Zazolia being mugged again? No, it's not. That's Matson this time. As Barkley goes up the inside. Halverson going to try and go around the outside. And Matson, is he going to lose 2 spots? In pretty much 2 corners, he absolutely is. Those medium tyres are not working.
That's absolutely gorgeous racing from everybody involved there. Poor Matson getting mugged off, but Barkley and Halverson. Barkley, of course, at home. One of his better performances of this year for definite, I think.
Yeah, almost definitely. He was only a handful of places behind his teammate on the grid. And mind you, he's now a mile clear.
Yeah,
Barkley
Kinnaman
started 18th and is 16th. Kinnaman started 14th and is 20th. Kinnaman's on the mediums.
Ah, right. I think the medium tyre might just not be switching on for anyone. So who else is on the mediums at the moment?
So the leading cars on the mediums are Wagner, Kanga, Zylander and Alvarez, who are sat 8th to 11th, but with quite a few cars stacked up behind them until Giordano, who's also on the mediums.
Yeah, interesting.
As we see on screen.
It might well be a bit of a coincidence, but we've got Perez on the super softs in the lead with Ruiz just over 5 seconds behind on the soft. That train then is backed by Adrien Simon on a set of softs, slightly behind Thunstrom. But then you've also got another 5-second gap between soft and medium for 7th and 8th. So I think we can use that as anecdotal evidence at the very least that the split between the different tyre compounds here working an absolute treat.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be pretty even, which could give us a great race as we go on, as we jump on board then with Johan Halverson, the Danish driver for North Star, sat in 17th position, and North Star would have hoped to be a little higher on the grid here. I suppose we probably should mention both them and First, who, I mean, for First this is an absolute dream as it stands.
Definitely.
If you take Hoskins out of the equation. But both teams celebrating their 100th V-Prix this weekend.
Yes, absolutely, and of course with North Star, the venue of their first ever victory, isn't it?
Yeah, and only.
Well, yes. Hey,
sorry,
first and
that was a
only
little
so
harsh.
Far. They've been here for 100 races, as have First, and I'm sure they're going to be here for many more. And I look forward to their future success, because I think, as you say, First possibly a little bit disappointed with where they've been compared to the pace that they've expected. I think today, though, is a highlight of that pace for definite. North Star potentially very disappointed with where they've been so far. I think it's
I think they've said that as well, haven't they?
I think they and we all have expected a little bit more from North Star, but I have no doubt that all this is doing is pushing them on even further, so that next year they come back stronger.
Absolutely, and speaking of pushing on, as we were discussing them, Johan Halverson made up another position. He's up now to 16th, ahead of Jules Barkley. So Halverson also making those super soft tyres work at the moment. He's now got a bit of a gap to Giordano, but if he can clear Giordano, he's got a solid 5 seconds of clear air.
Yeah, most definitely, and this is why you should have our commentary piped into your car, so that when we big up your driver, they go quicker.
Absolutely, and that will never happen for high wind.
Well, they'd have to make a race, wouldn't they?
Well, not only that, but you'd actually have to listen to commentary.
Oh, that's a very good point. Well, I'd like to say good afternoon to all of our Irish fans.
As Felix Perez pumps in another fastest lap then at the end of the 13th lap here in Canada. So even 13 laps old, these tyres still absolutely brilliant. And Perez is now nearly 7.5 seconds clear up front.
Yeah, they are just not giving up, are they, these tyres? Interestingly, I think that we are starting to see the point where the crossover point, perhaps, where the soft tyre is going to start being a little bit faster, or at least equal, although Ruiz proving me wrong as I speak, like he usually does.
Hey, at least he hasn't crashed yet.
Well, now you've done it. The
Sorry.
the wall of champions awaits for those who try and tempt it. But
Yeah, but it's currently claimed Hoskins and Mayer.
well, yeah. But Perez and Ruiz, I think it's just starting to balance out a little bit with Perez getting away in the traction zones mostly, rather than mid-corner now. So it'll start to cross over a little bit. But assuming that it's going to be that one pit stop differential as usual, as long as Perez gets kind of a more majority of the final stint to push it, this is looking at a delta of 24 seconds. So I'm not particularly sure what a pit stop will be in terms of the pit lane here. But 24 seconds certainly sounds ballpark for Perez to be on course to make up that pit stop over the competition.
Yeah, it certainly does. As where did you get 24 seconds from?
Because if you do 3/8, that's 24, and that will be the fourth pit stop, or the fourth stint for the stop.
Okay, yeah, but he's then got that fourth stint as well.
Yes, but that's what I mean. He will then make up the extra stop in the rest of it in the fourth stint.
Got ya. I know what you mean. I'm clever.
Well, one of us gets it. That's good.
Ruiz now 8 seconds behind Felix Perez then, as we are past the lap 13 window for the start of the 3 stops. So when would that close? When does it go to a 2-stopper?
2 stoppers, that's 3 stints. What is 52 divided by 3? Well, that would be about 16, something like that. No, it wouldn't. That would be 48. So it must be 17. Yes, 17 3 is 51.
So we're not miles away.
No, not
but we're not going to get there because Felix Perez dives in from the lead then with just over an 8-second advantage back to Enrique Ruiz. Perez peels off at the end of lap 15 for his first stop, and I think Powers, there we go, Powers and Thunstrom following in as well though. So 15 laps is the limit for the super soft tyres, it seems, and that was a fairly rapid stop from first for Perez. 3.4 seconds, 3.8 for Lucas for Thunstrom further back, and just about a 25-second pit delta. Perez is going to come out just clear of Alarcanga. That, I feel, is going to be absolutely crucial. He's got some beautiful clear air.
That's absolutely perfect, Perez. So it's 24,
Powers has lost position. Powers has lost a bit of time in his pit stop and has fallen behind Maximilian Thunstrom. Not only that, there are 2 cars between them as well.
Wow, Powers really not coming out of that one well. But looking at Perez, he's got the clear air. But also, one thing to note is with the 25-second stop here, the pit exit is actually at turn 2, so they also cut the entirety of turn 1 as well as the final chicane. So that net delta is going to be 4 or 5 seconds less, I think. So
that's a very good point.
Really, as long as Perez keeps coming out in this clear air, and drivers like Adrian Simon pit before.
That's Powers. Powers with a really late move on Barkley and up on 2 wheels, clips the curb then, and Nathaniel Powers exceptionally lucky to get away with that one then as the championship leader.
Christ, they build him strong at Amesbury there. Nathaniel Powers, 2-wheel moment there going through the chicane, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that was probably a little bit hairier than he'd have liked, as Nathaniel Powers now eyes up Puccio Giordano. Probably not going to do that one into the final chicane, but you sense it won't be long as Perez immediately bangs in a new fastest lap on those fresh tyres, and that's on his out lap.
Oh, he's having a great time, man. Well, there you go. That's what I mean by the first 2 corners being cut ever so slightly. But I think Perez in Wonderland, and Powers in a fairground ride at this rate. I think, what were we saying about him taking it easy?
Well, absolutely. I don't think he can afford to anymore, can he? Down in 14th position, he has a fairly sizable championship advantage, but he's not going to want to throw too much of that away, as Enrique Ruiz now then back into the lead, but you sense it won't be too long until he pits as the onto lap 17 now, so the 2-stop window has opened. Ruiz still with Van Schnarhauer and Thunder absolutely right behind him. There is nothing separating these 3.
Yeah, so equal on tyre strategy. I still think that if Van Schnelheid wasn't in Ruiz's dirty air, he just managed to eke away. But to be honest, I'm most impressed with this trio with Marcus Thunder. That Lucas is driving like an absolute beauty, and Thunder pedaling it absolutely fantastically as well.
Absolutely is.
Yellow
as
flag
that
in
is
sector 2, Halverson.
Johan Halverson then, who presumably has just pitted. Because he's running the super soft tyres, and it looks though he's gone round as that is Powers up the inside. Powers is off! Nathaniel Powers has spun and hit the wall at the final chicane. The wall of champions has claimed the 4-time champion Powers, and he is without a front wing, and Nathaniel Powers will need to make Another pit stop then, and he's got to do a whole lap.
Oh, that is utterly unbelievable. Nathaniel Powers having absolutely no luck throughout these last couple of races, although it did look like it was a bit of a bold move, a bit of a mistake to perhaps go for that. I don't know whether he was just starting to get a bit antsy. He wasn't making the progress he was expecting to make. And wow, I think it's another, well, I don't think it will be a season-defining moment, but it could be.
Yeah, as you say, I'm not sure it will be, but it is pretty huge for the championship. Nathaniel Powers could have claimed his 5th title here today. He needed things to go his way, but it is absolutely not going his way. And Powers now down in 18th with a pit stop to make as Felix Perez, who is absolutely flying, takes 4th place from Adrian Simon. That was what happened to Howison then. Oh, that was so unfortunate because he caught it, but lucky not to pick up any damage.
Well, if he'd done that at the other chicane on the circuit, you wouldn't have had a second chance.
Absolutely. Here we go. This is the replay of Powers, and yet you can see very similar incident to Hoskins and Mayer. Very lucky not to lose a wheel there.
Interestingly, what seemed to happen there is because he had the car on his outside as he's now coming into the pits to replace his front wing, because he had the car on the outside there, he had to clamber over the curb, which I think is what spun him rather than necessarily losing grip. And what that did is it meant the point of entry into the wall and the angle was just slightly different, and it has absolutely saved his bacon there.
Yeah, well, it's kept him in this race, that's for sure. But Nathaniel Powers, this will not be what he wanted whatsoever, as a new front wing is put onto that Downton, and Nathaniel Powers, the championship leader, you could really call him the champion-elect, rejoins in last place, 11 seconds behind the next car.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. I think
as the leaders pit then, the lap after Powers is in, the leaders dive in, Ruiz, Van Snelheid, Thunder and Simon, all of them on the soft tyres in as Felix Perez resumes the lead then, and this is going to be all down to the pit crews. Marcus Thunder could have an advantage here. Lucas are much further down the pit lane, but it's a clean stop for Mathishaw.
The Porsche has got out ahead of Marcus Thunder because, and I don't know whether or not, that was Adrian Simon, that's okay. I think
Thunder's
Ruiz
jumped
there.
class.
Yes.
Thunder's jumped class Van Snelheid, and so is Adrian Simon. So it's not worked for either of the Downton drivers at the moment. Then Powers is at the back, and Klaas Van Snelheid has lost 2 positions in the pit stops.
Yeah, that was absolutely crucial there. Enrique Ruiz, the Porsche pit crew, getting him out just ahead of Marcus Thunder, but with Ruiz, Thunder and Simon all there going past, Van Snelheid had to be held for a couple of seconds as we've got another yellow flag in sector 3.
We do. Surely that's someone else then who has had an incident at the final chicane. We will likely get a replay as I tell you, this is phenomenal for Felix Perez. He's got a 12-second advantage over 4 cars on the medium tyres.
Wow, absolutely incredible. So I think, wow. Again, I'm really impressed by the Phoenix cars. I don't know what they keep popping up in places that you expect someone that doesn't describe themselves as a backmarker team to pop up, quite frankly.
No, absolutely. As Maximilian Thunstrom now on the back of this quadrette? What's the phrase?
Well, you're either thinking of a quartet or a quintet.
Quartet, that's the one.
Oh, it's all right, because I can see 5 cars, that's all.
Well, yeah, but I thought Thunstrom on the back of the quartet of medium-tyred runners is what I was going for.
That makes sense.
There we go.
Absolutely.
As,
and Alexander Zazulya comes into the pits for refuge after being overtaken left, right and centre in his first stint.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Thunstrom will be looking to get past these cars fairly soon, you'd imagine, because already the soft-tyred runners of Ruiz, Thunder, Simon and Van Snelheid are on the back of him. And Thunstrom needs to make the most of this because he needs to get past and he needs to extract that life from those super soft tyres if he's going to make anything work here.
Most definitely. Just to note, the new fastest lap from Powers is 12.8. Absolutely incredible. But as you say,
that's like a second and a half up on Perez's, isn't it?
Oh, he's got the bit between his teeth now. He's also got some of the Wall of Champions between his teeth too. But he's pushing hard again. In fact, he did this last time we saw him have a problem without retiring, I think, didn't we? That he's just absolutely flies when he's got his back against the wall. Be interesting to see how far he can recover. Just looking at Enrique Ruiz here, as you say, the soft-tyred runner right behind Thunstrom on the super soft. You'd think that Enrique Ruiz, being the shrinking violet he is, was going to just sit there and do nothing. But I feel like we're going to see some action shortly from Enrique Ruiz and Maximilian Thunstrom.
Absolutely, although at the moment it does seem as though he's quite content to sit there and do nothing. I suppose in fairness, Ruiz is looking at this going, well, I'm comfortably a net second. I mean, we're only 22 laps in. I'm already starting to think that Perez has got this in the bag.
It's difficult to argue against that. I think that it's going to be tight. I think that we're looking at a pit delta that certainly facilitates it. I think that by the time we've had Perez's second stop, by the time we've had the medium-tired runners have their stop, I think we're going to have quite a lot clearer picture of this race. And as you say, I think Perez very much in a good position right now.
Absolutely. Got to assume that we're going to see at least another 4 laps before these guys dive into the pits then. Presuming that they are going to do the usual one stop for the medium tyres then, as this looks like Thunstrom is lining up Thierry Zylander then, and indeed the Swede pulls out and up the inside of Thierry Zylander into the final chicane. Can he keep the car on the track? He can, but Zylander's not going to give this up and pushes Thunstrom right to the wall, but Thunstrom keeps his foot in and around the outside of Zylander at the final corner then, and does take 5th place as Ruiz now bullies Zylander out the way up the inside at turn 1.
There you go, the Brazilian taking it nice and easy there. But going back to Thunstrom and Zylander, 2 of the, I'd probably say, most talented youngsters in Formula Virtual, showing everyone how it's done there. Absolutely brilliant driving from both. Absolutely.
Phenomenal. They gave one another room. They were fair. That is what you call racing.
Oh yeah, like no quarter given, no quarter gained. But, as you say, the respect was there. Zylander, I think, left about the car's width plus the width of a Royal Blonde. But other than that, yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant racing there. As Thunstrom's next target then will be Sergio Alvarez, and he is absolutely tucked under the rear wing of that Phoenix. Ruiz trying to go with him. Meanwhile, the others behind, Ruiz is getting a bit of a gap here because the others behind are stuck behind Thierry Zylander. But look at Perez's gap up front. It's now up to 17 seconds. Surely there's another 3 laps till these medium-tyre pits. Perez is going to have a pit stop in hand as Maximilian Thunstrom now takes 4th from Sergio Alvarez, and that's slightly easier than it was on Alvarez's teammate. Behind him, Thunder's done Zylander, and now Simon lines up the Belgian.
Wow, there is just action.
That's Ruiz.
Everywhere.
Ruiz down the inside of Sergio Alvarez, kicks the rear end out as he does the move, and that is through. As that's Simon. Oh, Simon's been bolted slightly by Zylander then, and Klaas van Snelheid's gone back through.
Wow, that's Adrian Simon once again a little bit off the pace compared to his teammate, but to be honest with you, they're both in it to win it, which is more than we can say they have been at various points in this year and last year. So, absolutely going pretty well. Absolutely,
and you say off the pace, but in the last handful of races, Simon's been there, if not ahead of Ruiz. Ruiz has been made to look fairly ordinary.
Yeah, and I think that's testament to the quality of Simon that's underlying. There's a reason we keep him in the car year after year since day one. And I think as well, that anything that makes Ruiz look ordinary is not only Adrian Simon, but the quality of the rest of the grid as well. I think there are very few drivers on this grid that I would say don't belong. Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. As that is Thunder going past Sergio Alvarez then. So Marcus Thunder making use of his soft tyres and going up into 6th. He's now got 2 cars between him and his fellow soft tyred runners behind of Van Snelheid and Simon, and a bit of room to get on Ruiz, as that was Zylander looking to the inside of Alvarez, and that looked very, very close to contact.
Absolutely, a bit of internecine battle there from the 2 Phoenix cars. Zylander, of course, I think we've been a little bit critical of him at points during last season, maybe the early part of this year, but I think Zylander's really kind of come back into his own, really trying to push that Phoenix car and his teammate as hard as he can. I think this is another one of those key races where you're going to say that teammate battle was won or lost during the season.
Absolutely, although I would like to refute that claim. I have always been extremely complimentary of Thierry Zylander. And,
I'm a huge fan of his, don't get me wrong.
I think it was clear last year he'd have been so much higher. He'd have scored so many more points had he not suffered the ridiculous bad luck he had every time he was in a strong point scoring position. That was the only time he got it. And Zylander, now that he's not getting that bad luck, I think he's absolutely showing what he can do. As we see Alar Kanga leading the train for 2nd place then. He is now 21 seconds behind Felix Perez, what we expect to be over a pit stop.
That is absolutely incredible from Perez. Every time that Kanga and Wagner come to that final chicane, you can see in Thunstrom and Ruiz's body language, just with their helmet movement in the car, they're hoping beyond hope that those Lopez's don't break into that final chicane and head into the pit lane. But they've got to be careful, because when that does happen, of course, if they follow them in, they're going to outbrake themselves as well, causing themselves just no end of issue.
Absolutely. As we see Nathaniel Powers then, who's just made his way past Alexander Zazolia and back up into 19th position then. So Powers is making progress and will be slightly off strategy, won't he? But I think it was only a lap or two after he pitted that Powers hit the wall. So when did the Super Soft runners pit?
Was it 17 or 18? No, it wasn't. It was 16, I think. So that'll be 16.
Yeah, it was
32,
it was after
40.
15 laps.
Now, depending on how things go, bearing in mind that it was a couple of laps in lap and out lap, we might see him try and go to the end on that final stop, but I think it's certainly going to be close.
We might see him try. I'm not sure he's going to do it. 15, 30, 45 would lead 7 laps. It was definitely only 2 or 3 after his stop that Powers hit the wall. I don't think he can make this on 3.
I'm inclined to agree. I think it'll be tight if he can, but well, if anyone can give it a go, I think Nathaniel Powers with his back against the wall might be the one to do it.
Absolutely, and he's, as you say, he really has to now. He doesn't desperately need the points for the championship, but he certainly doesn't want to throw away an advantage like he's got.
No, definitely. I think, though, that Felix Perez, Maximilian Thunstrom, Marcus Thunder, Sergio Alvarez, Thierry Zylander, all in the points here, and team or drivers that don't really affect the championship in a negative way for Downton or for Nathaniel Powers. So, yeah, as damage limitation goes, the fact that Kanga and Wagner. So we're now past that point of no return for a one stop.
We are.
We're assuming 20 seconds loss net. Where do you think they're going to end up? Do you think it's going to be middle of the points?
What have we got? We've got the soft tyres have one more stop to make, don't they?
Yeah.
So once they've got, and the Supers have 2 more stops.
Yeah.
Perez is going to be comfortably clear. You know,
Perez
he can that is Klaas van Snelheid making a move on Sergio Alvarez. Van Snelheid goes through into 7th, and I think behind that was Hunter Ryan taking Thierry Zylander as well. Hunter Ryan's come out of nowhere to be right on the tail of Adrian Simon, as that was Thunstrom sliding his way past Elroy Wagner at turn 1 with a beautiful move. That was a proper
gorgeous
Scandinavian flick.
Oh, that's fantastic. I was just about to say, I think we have to look at Kanga and Wagner in this race as threats, because if they are on the same strategy now with one stop to go as the soft-tired runners, there's going to have to be overtakes made. And with Thunstrom there showing how long it took him actually to make that move, and it was a bold one at that on Elroy Wagner, I think that as long as they come out ahead, the medium-tired runners of the 2 Lopez cars, they've got to be in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, Thunstrom, I think, has lost too much time to be any kind of factor as it stands, given
Agreed.
he has 2 stops to go. I think Perez, as it looks, is probably going to be up front. Once the medium-tired runners peel in, those on the softs, your Ruiz, Thunder, Van Snelheid, Simon, should probably have enough time on track to gain time on the medium runners, even on fresh mediums, as I think. Just Thunstrom going past. A la Kanga. I thought Kanga was going to pit there, but no, Thunstrom just braked so much later.
So it's not just Maximilian Thunstrom's backside that's twitching there. I think Bradley was preempting something. Oh, wow.
Yes, the 2 Lopez getting a little bit feisty with one another, and that's putting Ruiz's nose slightly out of joint as Marcus Thunder tries to capitalise. Nothing he can do there then.
I was just watching Marcus Thunder's onboard there, hands working the wheel absolutely frantically, just trying to keep it in a straight line coming off the corner from turn 2, and these cars are certainly a handful. And they're sliding beautifully around here. It's an absolute joy to just watch.
It absolutely is. As now Thunstrom into 2nd then. It'd be interesting to see his pace compared to Perez, although they are going to peel into the pits in a lap or 2 time. I don't know. We've got to be looking at probably Kanga Wagner, I'd suggest around 5th, 6th at this point.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a reasonable assumption. And I think that's a result that, on the balance of the medium tyre not really having quite the outright pace, I think that it's one that Lopez will be happy with.
Yeah, I think so, and you've got to look at it in comparison to their rivals as well. Matheshaw, who that's Thunder on Ruiz. Oh no, he's lost it. No, he hasn't. He's just held on to it. Marcus Thunder then with a brilliant move on Ruiz. very late braking into the final chicane. Nearly lost the car on the exit then. So sideways. But Thunder somehow saved that and has made his way up into fifth.
Marcus Thunder there. Wow, I think he scared everyone in the Lucas garage, the Porsche garage, and even in the Downton garage behind with the Klaus von Schnellheit. That was bonkers, quite frankly. What a move!
That was absolutely incredible then from Marcus Thunder as Timo Kinnaman dives in, and that's Kinnaman on the mediums. So the medium runners then. We have seen a medium tired runner pit. I got that out eventually.
Oh, and that's Perez in as well. The super soft runners. So the super softs and the mediums. Obviously, the super soft has to have or has one more stop to do after this. But yeah, pitting on the same lap for their the first stop for the mediums and the second for the supers. So
absolutely
interesting.
Perez in then. It's a slightly longer stop from first than it was for the first time around. But
they've
still
got
only
margin.
4 seconds. Not too bad. Just over 25.3 in the pit lane for Perez. And look how far clear he is.
Oh,
Admittedly, Thunderstrom's just pitted, as has Kanga. I think everyone's going to pretty much file in.
But they are a pit lane clear.
They are. Well, look at that. Perez still 14.5 seconds clear of Thunder on the soft tyres.
Yeah, that's
he's only got 5 seconds to gain to get a pit stop over the softs. Perez is looking imperious.
Oh, Perez is just absolutely flying right now, and that gap's only going to grow and grow and grow. Fresh super soft tyres against these now starting to age softs, and we saw how long the super soft went anyway. I don't think there was ever a point where it stopped being the fastest tyre, at least slightly, over the rest of the competition.
Absolutely.
So
just want to note some slightly long pit stops there for Hunter Ryan and Sergio Alvarez. There were a lot of cars in the pit lane.
Yeah,
it looks as though they may have slightly lost out, although Zylander's lost out more.
Yeah. I mean, so Halverson there around that same area as Zylander now, 7.4 seconds, so a very congested pit lane. So the super soft runners and the medium runners all coming in, spelling a bit of disaster for a few teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nathaniel Powers then now back up to 13th, but will be making his second scheduled stop in a few laps' time, and that's going to drop him pretty much towards the back again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really, isn't it? So
he's made progress, but it's just I think it's going to be undone by the pit strategy and the timing of his incident. As there, Marcus Thunder up into second place, but he's already lost since Perez's pit stop. He's already lost 2 seconds on that one lap. Perez, in 2 or 3 laps, Perez is going to have a pit stop in hand and is going to be comfortably clear.
Oh, Perez can go and get a drive through Tim Morton's at this point and still win the race. He's absolutely on it.
It's just insane the pace that we've seen from Felix Perez today. Where has this been all year? I mean, okay, he's been aided by the tyre strategy. He's had the super softs, he's had the clear air, he's been able to put them to use. Everyone else has been pretty much stuck behind someone on a slower tyre for most of the race. But, I mean, this has just been phenomenal from Perez.
Oh, yeah, it's a combination of the right tyre on the right day. But, yeah, Perez has been driving brilliantly. That first is performing absolutely perfectly at the moment. Looking at the other super soft runners, are there any others that you would say that are outperforming where they should be? Because that's probably going to be the best indication of whether we think it's the first itself or the tyre that, I think a 1:12.8 there, faster than Powers in clear air, probably suggests that first has got plenty of grunt.
Absolutely. I mean, who else is on the super soft? We've also got Powers, who's fighting his way back through the field.
Yeah.
Thunderstrom is pretty much where you'd expect him to be, I think.
Yeah. Hoskins is out.
Yeah. Ryan's probably done pretty well. Ryan's up in 11th from 19th on the grid. Make that 10th as he goes past Alor Kanga.
Oh, nice one. That's a great move there from the Australian.
And so actually Ryan's had a really good race so far. Then he started one position ahead of Halverson, but is now 7 clear of him.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit Ryan has very much crept up the order without me noticing, as he's, to be honest, has done for most of the season. But Halverson, don't forget, with a couple, certainly one big spin, a couple of offs and a couple of major little moments as well.
Very true.
But Hunter Ryan, you can't take anything away from the guy. He's driving brilliantly here, and I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar with many of his results this year, because as I say, he's someone that's flown somewhat under the radar for me this year. He's been very hit and miss. Sometimes he's performed miracles, as that is Maximilian Thunderstrom down the inside of Nick Addison at the hairpin, and that was a beautiful move. Pulled out really, really late, but got that done. Addison, in fairness to the Australian, gave him space, saw him coming, despite how late the move was, and
Yeah, Thunstrom, he needed to get that done.
No, that was amazing. Just going to point something out. If for any reason Perez doesn't manage to hold on to the lead during his pit stop, Marcus Thunder is in the net lead of the race because he's on the same tyre as Enrique Ruiz. And how good a story would that be for Lucas and Marcus Thunder?
It would be pretty incredible, wouldn't it? As you've confused me now. Nathaniel Powers, there we go. I know who my drivers are. Nathaniel Powers.
And Marcus Powers, yes.
Dives in for his second scheduled stop. And it is at the end of lap. That's got to be at the end of lap 32 for him? No, 33 surely. Because that's towards the end of lap 34.
Seconds off the leader, so.
Yeah, so that's the end of lap 33 for Powers. There's no way he's going to make it to the end.
No, for sure. I'm inclined to agree. Powers stopped there, interestingly. The Downton guy's really good on it again. Oh, as Perez is now...
Oh, that's Perez in the pits without a front wing! Felix Perez, the race leader! He had a comfortable advantage, and it's gone wrong!
I am so sorry, Felix Perez. I am so sorry first for anything that I said. I did notice that as I was saying it, he lost a couple of seconds, but I thought nothing of it. Oh, no!
Perez then, into the pits. It's going to be a long stop. He had a huge advantage. Hopefully, for him and them, he can pull something back. But Marcus Thunder now then, for Lucas, goes through into the lead.
The only problem I can foresee here is that it's gonna... Just get to the end.
Here we go, so on board with Perez. No, surely not. Felix Perez in the first has come together with Brock Kidd's North Star. The two teams celebrating 100 races here in Canada.
200 races between them, and it's taken until now for that to happen. Oh, that is absolutely gutting for first and for Felix Perez. But one man's problem is another man's gain. As I say, Marcus Thunder in the lead of the motor race, and, well, net lead, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I still don't think we can count out Felix Perez, though. Yes, he's got a stop to make, but so do the cars ahead of him. He's only 7 seconds off the lead, as Perez absolutely breezes past Danilo Ferrini. And Perez is going to be a man on a mission now. He wants this back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Felix Perez today, if there was going to be one man on the circuit that was going to salvage something from this, and as you say, I still think he's one of the favourites for the win. He's made it half a second in half a lap. Since we started talking about him there, he's just pulling in the gap massively. And yeah, and he's going to get fresh tyres again at some point during this stint with no net loss to the leaders. Do you know what? I'm putting my cards on the table. He's still going to win this.
Do you know, I think you might be right. Perez absolutely flying then. Obviously, slightly off strategy, but that could almost help him because he's going to have fresh tyres now to try and fight his way past these soft-tyred runners that are filling the top 4 positions. And mind you, I'll tell you what, Perez is still in with a shout. Thunstrom, maybe he doesn't actually look too bad at all. Thunstrom's only a couple of seconds behind as Nathaniel Powers on those fresh soft, super softs himself.
1:12.4.
Fastest lap.
I can't imagine that it's going to take... I think Perez, once we see his first lap out of the pits as well, with that small gap to Adrian Simon, I think that gap's going to close rapidly, and I think that this might be the fastest lap from Felix Perez. But Thunstrom up to 7th. Ahead of Ferrini.
That's another move at the hairpin.
These super soft tyres just not giving up anything. Grip for days. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely coming alive then. Perez now only 4.5 seconds off the lead. That's another 2 seconds. He's slashed from the advantage. Perez is a man on a mission.
I don't know how long this is going to last for the 3 ahead, but it is 3 for the lead with 0.8 of a second between all 3 of them. Marcus Thunder. Wow, Marcus Thunder must have vertigo right now. Enrique Ruiz hoping for another victory. And, well, Klaus-Mann Schnellheid hoping to kind of keep his championship drive on the on track. But, honestly, Felix Perez, he's the man today.
Absolutely.
I'm calling it.
Van Schnellheid will be desperate to try and get past the 2 ahead of him and take an advantage out of Powers struggling today then as a result of his incident earlier on, because it looks as though he might well struggle to pick up points. He's still 18th with a stop to go. And what is he? He's 17 seconds outside of a point scoring position.
Oh, it's not Nathaniel Powers' day.
No, I was going to talk championship permutations and give calculations throughout this race, but as it stands, neither of them are anywhere near, so we won't bother with that.
That sounds good to me.
As
Believe it
that's
or not,
Felix
there is a
Perez
car
tying up
behind.
Adrian Simon down the inside at the final
Oh.
chicane, and that was as easy as you like. Perez has got so much grip.
Beautiful move there. Adrian Simon did well to kind of stay out of the way of a charging Perez there. I don't think there was a cat in hell's chance that Adrian Simon was going to hold on to that position, so discretion the better part of valor. If anything, he needs to try and hold on a little bit, get the slipstream down the next couple of straights, just to try and pull himself back into the battle for the soft-tyred runners.
In fairness, I'd imagine Simon would have looked in his mirrors last lap and gone, oh, there's no one particularly close to me. He looked in his mirrors this time and gone, where the hell did you come from?
Well, he has got one of the finest race engineers in the land. I'm sure he got fair warning.
Yes, I'm sure. As Felix Perez breezes past up into fourth, he is now just over 2 seconds off the lead of this race. And Perez, I don't know how many times we've said it, but he is absolutely flying. And despite that incident earlier on with Brock Kidd, then is surely still in with a shout of this race win here today.
That is utterly incredible. Where else can you see 4 cars within 1.5 seconds for the race lead this
That's
late
phenomenal.
into the race?
I can't believe we've only got 15 laps to go. This has been just non-stop action. What a race we've had. As there we go, they pit. This is opened up beautifully for Perez then. As Thunder, Ruiz and Van Snelheid peel into the pit lane for their second stops. Perez now has clear air on fairly fresh, super soft tyres to absolutely pump in some laps.
Oh, he really could not have timed that any better from the first point of view. So Enrique Ruiz there coming out of the pit lane unobstructed. Will he manage
Ruiz
to
has
jump
jumped Thunder.
Thunstrom?
Ruiz has jumped Thunder, and so has Klaas Van Snelheid. Marcus Thunder then has gone from what was the lead of this race down into, well, behind Ruiz and Van Snelheid.
Yes. Yeah, and Alvarez there now in front of Van Snelheid and Thunder, which will help Ruiz between those three. Oh, not for long. Joachim, no, not Joachim. Klaas Van Snelheid. Beautiful move once again, another fantastic move, but that's a couple of seconds that Enrique Ruiz has now. But, well, it's just a matter of time. Where will Felix Perez come out? At the moment, I'd say he's not quite there. I think he needs to make up another couple of seconds, but
he has several laps until he's going to pit.
On the basis of what we've seen so far, as long as he doesn't inexplicably come in now for the stop, he's going to be absolutely fine.
As Thunder down the inside of Alvarez then, and swiftly dispatches the Phoenix on the medium tyres. Those medium tyres don't look as though they've got the pace now that these guys are on some fresh softs.
Absolutely. I think that we've now got Perez in a position where I think we can say, we've been saying it for a few laps now, he's looking good. I think it's important to look at that. Oh, yellow flag in sector 1.
Yeah, indeed there is. Not seeing anything on the timing screen.
No, just a bit of a fracas, I'm sure. But it's really important now to look at the fact that Enrique Ruiz and has managed to leapfrog the Porsche pit crew there. Absolutely brilliant job to get both of his car ahead of Marcus Thunder and the Downton boys as well, and boys and girls. Joachim Van Snelheid. Joachim, why do I keep saying
here
that?
We go. This is. I wonder if this is the reason for a yellow. We've got Yukumi Takahashi. Oh, Takahashi retired with an engine failure then. Totally missed that one.
That's a Jaguar engine burning.
Hang on, when did Jules Barkley go out?
I reckon he went out very briefly beforehand because we had 2 yellow flags. We've lost 2 cars then. No idea what happened to Barkley, but I'm sure we will find out at some point, as Enrique Ruiz now absolutely in the wheel tracks of Alar Kanga then. Just want to note, Hunter Ryan's up to 3rd as it stands. That is utterly brilliant. So Ryan on the super soft obviously has to pit again, but applying the logic we have done so far, he's going to fall a little bit. Ruiz passed Kanga there, nice and easy. Yeah. The Porsche contract in the back pocket, I'm sure.
That was so easy. That was even before the braking zone.
Well, we teach all the Porsche juniors lift and coast when you see a red car.
I'm going to start painting my cars red. Oh, in fact, I think I might already have. I think Kanga mistook that one.
Yes.
Because that is Klaas Van Snelheid. Comfortably through past the Estonian then and up into 6th.
No, most definitely. But Perez and Thunstrom. So Perez, 5 seconds. Thunstrom is on the super soft, but only 5 seconds ahead. In fact, what does that leave? 25 seconds. Yeah, I think it might still be the tail end of the points for Thunstrom. Interestingly, this run, in the last couple of laps, Perez and Ruiz only have exchanged a couple of seconds, I think, here and there.
Yeah, they haven't.
He's not been pulling away all that much.
No, these fresh soft tyres obviously have a fair amount of pace to them. Well, I think we've seen that because they are getting through these medium-tired runners a lot easier than they did first time round.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know whether the temperatures have just risen a little bit, just taken the edge off the super soft and brought the soft into the operating window, but a race where I was convinced. Oh, and that's a slipstream and a half there.
Isn't it just? Once again, Enrique Ruiz is going to be comfortably through for the braking zone. Mind you, Wagner's trying to come back at him, but parks his car awkwardly in the middle of the corner. That's not going to help Klaas van Snelheid at all, but Ruiz won't mind that one iota.
Yeah, Porsche on Porsche engine action there, but the...
Van Snelheid down the inside of Wagner at turn 1, up onto two wheels, he's clipped the curb, and somehow Klaas van Snelheid has not spun, not clattered into Wagner, and gained the position.
Good grief, someone needs to tell everyone at Downton that, you are allowed to use the whole tyre, you don't have to bring it back again for the next race.
I thought we were building motorbikes.
Well, I'd be interested. I'd love to see a Downton motorcycle. I think that would be great in Moto Virtual.
Brilliant move there from Van Snelheid. He's determined not to let Ruiz get away, isn't he?
Oh, most definitely. But it's still under 20 seconds, that gap from Ruiz to the leader Perez. Oh, now it's just
flirting on the edge, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Ruiz now has clear air.
Yes, I don't know. I'm not quite as convinced as I once was.
No, but I tell you what, I've got no idea what's going to happen. This is phenomenal. We've got 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've either got an incredible...
As this is, I'm just going to call Marcus Thunder then, down the inside of Elroy Wagner into the final chicane. Wagner left his braking a little bit later, was still almost alongside as they went into the corner, but that is still fairly comfortable for Thunder then to move up into 6th.
Oh, most absolutely. Interestingly, looking at that final chicane as we got the nice action shot from the Wall of Champions point of view, it looks like the track's just gripping up ever so slightly. A lot of the sliding at the rear's just been tempered a little bit. So, touch wood, I think we might be okay now for people trying to drive into the wall at high speed.
Yes, hopefully we don't see any more of that then. As the gap between Perez and Ruiz, just over 20 seconds now, about 20 and a half. So Perez is eking this out ever so slightly, but this is going to be super close when he makes his final stop.
It's all about when he makes the final stop as well, because I know we've said it's about 20 seconds with the shorter pit in and pit out, but if that leeway is even 2 or 3 seconds, it's the difference between first and fourth at this point.
It very much is.
If not further down, the slightest mistake in the pit stop or in the pit entry or pit exit, because don't forget that it's not just the pit crew that's the factor in the pit stop. You've got to maximise that pit entry to get onto the limiter, and then coming out, you've got to be as clean as you can on the outlap as well. It takes a bit of time to get some temperature in to these tyres, even with the warmers. So, it's all to play for. This is absolutely fascinating. Yeah,
well and truly, this is an utterly thrilling V-Prix then, as we've now got Adrian Simon tucked up behind our Alar Kanga. And you'd imagine it probably won't be too long before Simon is past those two Lopez cars, as we see Felix Perez up front then. He's put another second and a half or so on Maximilian Thunstrom, and gaps up to about 21 back to Enrique Ruiz. So Perez is doing what he needs to do. He could probably do with a little bit more if he wants to be safe.
He needs a couple of big push laps right now. I think that he'll be racing on the exit at this point.
When are we expecting him in? It's going to be really close to the end, isn't it?
It's 3 or 4 laps before the end, I'm thinking, isn't it? I can't remember exactly when he came in.
So we're looking late 40s then.
Oh yeah, around then. This is absolutely awesome.
Thunstrom and Ryan, meanwhile, will be in a lap or two's time, won't they?
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, that might suit them better, because I don't think if Perez is struggling to pull away, Thunstrom and Ryan not really doing so at all. They need to get the track position after the pit stop and then try and work their way forward rather than trying to do it in the clear air now.
I'll tell you what, for Thunstrom, this might not actually work out too badly. You look, about 20 seconds add to his time is going to put him between his teammate and Elroy Wagner. If he can come out clear of Wagner, if Wagner and Kanga can continue to hold up Simon and Danilo Ferrini on the soft tyres, who's appeared on the back of this little squabble, that's not a bad effort from the Swiss driver. If Thunstrom can come out ahead of Wagner, bit of clear air, then he's only got the soft tyre runners ahead of him. Thunstrom might not be out of this for a decent result, you know.
Yeah, I reckon 6th is going to be his lot, to be honest with you. I'm not as convinced by these super soft runners. They've got still a little bit of an edge in the clear air, but as soon as you put them behind another car...
But don't forget as well, they're going to have fresh tyres.
Yeah, that is very true. I think it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
any one of about 8 drivers could be on the podium here. This is fascinating. And there we go, Thunderstrom pits.
Oh yeah, so that's this is going to be good as well. So he was 6 seconds off Felix Perez. So we need to look at that gap so we can see the net loss that Perez is going to get for the next stop, for his final stop.
Absolutely, Ryan in as well. Then obviously Hunter Ryan will be slightly further down, but I think this has still been a stellar drive from the Australian. Then,
oh,
as past goes Ruiz, past goes Van Schnellheid, and past goes Thunder. Maximilian Thunderstrom is going to turn off the limiter now then, and I think Wagner's going to be just about level with him, but Thunderstrom is flat to turn 2, Wagner isn't, and Thunderstrom is out into 5th position then.
Yeah, so Thunderstrom in 5th position, but also looking at that, he lost a net 23 seconds, but even with a fast stop from the Lucas pit crew, he lost a couple of seconds compared to the fastest stops we've seen so far from pit in to pit out. So I still think 20 to 21 seconds, so Felix Perez, I think it might have just tipped back in his balance. The balance might have just tipped back into his favour, you know.
It could well have done. He is now 22 seconds clear of Enrique Ruiz then. Be really interesting now to watch Thunderstrom and Ryan in the next few laps to see what they can do. I mean, you know, Ryan's got 2 cars on the softs in front of him immediately before the medium-tired Lopez cars. And those 2 cars are quicker as well, generally.
Oh,
so this is
sure,
going to be difficult for Ryan to make much progress, I feel. But he's already lining up for Rini. Hunter Ryan is right in the wheel tracks of the Swiss racer.
Well, I think that right now Ryan is giving the first team all the data that they're ever going to need. If they are behind Ruiz, Van Schnellheid or Thunder by the time they've pitted, this is now the battle that they're watching just as closely as the lead battle themselves. Because this is how easy it's going to be, or otherwise, to overtake a car on the soft tyre.
Absolutely. It seems as though about a 2.5 second gap has opened up between Van Schnellheid and Thunder, though. So I think even if Perez's pit stop goes a little bit wrong, he's still going to come out in 3rd.
Yes, no, I think you're right. I think that the podium is now looking good for Felix Perez.
I'll tell you what, look at Thunderstrom, though. Thunderstrom on the timing screen is right behind his teammate. Surely Lucas are going to see the pace of Maximilian Thunderstrom here and tell Marcus to Thunder to let him by. Wagner! That's Elroy Wagner on fire at the side of the track, and Wagner's race then goes up in smoke. 6th place is out of the window for Lopez.
Oh, that is such a shame for Lopez there. And a Porsche power plant going pop. We've seen that once or twice before in the past couple of seasons. Such a shame for Elroy Wagner in his final race at the Canadian V-Prix.
Absolutely. That is not great news then for Wagner or for Lopez, as here we see then the 2 Lucas cars, Maximilian Thunderstrom going past his teammate, and Thunderstrom is up into 4th. He's got 5 more laps. What can Thunderstrom do for this? Is a podium in the offing for the Swedish racer?
I mean, left field choice, Perez, Thunderstrom 1-2. The super soft tyre is still working now. It's just switched on a bit more for Perez as well. So in that last couple of laps, rather than just a couple of tenths here and there, it's been a little bit more. So now it's nearly 23 seconds. I think we're seeing Felix Perez once again just moving into the catbird seat here.
Absolutely. This is incredible then, as slightly further back, Simon has now passed Alar Kanga, and Hunter Ryan is ahead of Danilo Ferrini as well. Nathaniel Powers is inside the points, but does he not have another pit stop to go?
I believe he does. Now, crucial thing here for Felix Perez, he has just caught the back of Xander Brynildsen. There is only one car in that train. Well, it's not a train, it's one car. But there is only one car for him to lap. But one car, and the time he's going to lose is going to make all the difference here if he doesn't manage to dispatch him quickly. So
it depends where he catches him, doesn't it?
Well, he's just caught him as he went into the final chicane. So now he's going to go through the first sector, and it looks like he's still behind him going through the first sector.
Yeah, it does indeed then. As Maximilian Thunderstrom across the line, he's taken a fair chunk of time out of Klaas Van Schnellheid ahead, as we've got a yellow in sector 3.
Yellow in sector
Powers
3.
pits. Ryan's done Kanga. There's debris everywhere. Kanga's lost his front wing. Alar Kanga without a front wing in the second of the Lopez. Elroy Wagner retired a lap ago, and now Kanga is in strife as well.
That is an absolute disaster. The Lopez team race there, absolutely falling apart in the space of 2 laps. Oh, devastating.
It's all gone wrong for Lopez then, and that is not what they needed in their battle for second in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, in their battle for 5th, Lucas, this is looking really, really good. Although Perez is in the lead, Thunderstrom is flying. He's on the back of Klaas van Snelheid as Perez pits then from the
Perez
lead.
was in the pits, but it was a delta of 20 seconds there. Brynildsen still hadn't been lapped, so Ruiz got 3 seconds back in that last lap alone. Here we go.
This is going to be super tight then. What's the stop like from first? It's 3.7.
Oh, it's not bad.
It's pretty solid from the team then. Surely this is going to be good for Felix Perez, or will it? Felix Perez comes out and he's clear. He's comfortably clear. Perez is in the lead with 3 laps to go.
Wow, that's a brilliant stop from the first team under significant pressure. That's one of the hardest pit stops that team is ever going to have to make. And Felix Perez, 4 seconds out, fresh super soft tyres. What a race this has been.
It's been incredible. The recovery from Perez has been utterly phenomenal. Imagine how far clear he'd have been without that incident.
Oh, most definitely. But Thunstrom here, we really need to pay attention to. 4 tenths of a second off the podium and only 1 second away from second place.
Absolutely, as Alar Kanga is making his pit stop, and that's going to put him well down the order. So I think for the first time this season, Lopez aren't going to score points then, and that ends Kanga's point scoring run as well, which was about 15 races or something, I think.
He's been ultra consistent throughout his entire time with Lopez, really. But looking ahead of Felix Perez, we're going to get one more time. We're going to get a bit of traffic here. Brock Kidd.
So that's Brock Kidd. Brock Kidd was who he collided with last time.
Oh no, that's Brock Kidd who he collided with last time. We've got teams celebrating their 100th race, first and last on the road.
Yeah, that's all right. There's 2 laps.
Me.
There's just 2 laps. As Thunstrom still right tucked up with Klaas van Snelheid, but he's not finding this as easy as he did on his teammate, which I suppose is understandable because there was probably team orders.
Absolutely, don't forget that is a Downton car that I still think is the class of the field. So,
well, and that's the thing as well. Lucas are a Downton customer. While there won't be anything in the contract that says you can't overtake the works car, are Lucas really gonna push to risk that?
Yellow flag in sector 2.
Perez! It's Perez! Perez is losing his lead! Felix Perez is in the wall! Once again, here in Canada from the lead of the race!
Oh my goodness!
Unbelievable!
That's the second time in as many races that Enrique Ruiz has inherited the lead at the latest possible moment. That is, utterly devastating for Felix Perez there. I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to do it the first time. And I thought he was going to do it again after an imperious drive back to the front. Oh, I'm just gutted.
That is super cruel on Felix Perez then, who'd already recovered from one incident with Brock Kidd and fought back to be leading, and it's gone wrong again. It's not Kidd again. It is Kidd again. Goodness. He's gone up the inside. Oh, I suppose that's more on Perez.
I don't think it was necessarily Kidd's fault, but he was certainly there, and in the way is not the right word. He's a bad mark. He's entitled to be there, but
Felix.
That is gutting.
He just didn't need to do that.
No, he had the margin, 6 seconds I think it was at that point. He could have just
he could have sat behind Kidd to the end.
He could have followed him home. That is such a shame. He's already down to 5.5 seconds. I think he might be able to get Marcus Thunder still on this final lap. Well,
I was going to say that's going to be a hell of an effort without a front wing. He's obviously not pitted with just the 1 lap to go.
Yeah,
but
he's still flying.
Yeah, he certainly is. That's absolutely gutting. Felix Perez deserves it. I can't believe he's lost this race twice.
Oh, I can't.
It's ridiculous.
Such a shame.
But as we go on board with Klaas van Snelheid and then Maximilian Thunstrom, that's going to be a maiden podium, but that's not the story. Enrique Ruiz, for the second time in 2 races, inherits the lead on the penultimate lap. And it's Enrique Ruiz who wins in Canada as the top 3 cross the line, less than a second apart. Unbelievable what we've witnessed here today. What a motor race. As Marcus Thunder, 4th, just ahead of Felix Perez, who crosses the line without his front wing. And I dare say he probably won't be speaking to the media after this one. It's Adrian Simon 6th ahead of Hunter Ryan. Farini and Addison for Franklin pick up 8th and 9th. And Alvarez 10th. Nathaniel Powers 11th. Doesn't quite make it back to the points. But Ruiz...
Once again, I have to say, I am so sorry for the whole first team there. That is absolutely heartbreaking for them on North American soil. Unbelievable. And Enrique Ruiz, as you say, the second time in 2 races. It was that pit stop from the Porsche pit crew that got him ahead of Maximilian Sundstrom. That made all the difference. Oh, Marcus Thunder, sorry, that made all the difference. But
it absolutely was.
Incredible.
Brilliant stops all round from the Mathishaw Porsche crew. Ruiz must be thinking his birthdays and Christmases will come at once. 2 race wins handed to him on silver platters, 2 races in a row. But yeah, a brilliant drive from Ruiz then, as he makes his way back to the pits, leading 2nd and 3rd to start the celebrations and the podium. Here come the drivers then, out onto the podium. In 3rd place for the Johnny Walker Lucas V-Prix team, his first career podium in Formula Virtual, Maximilian Thunstrom. In 2nd place for the Downton FB team, it's his 8th podium of the season as he closes on the championship leader, Klaas van Snelheid. And onto the top step then for his 2nd unexpected win in 2 races for the Coca-Cola Porsche team Mathishaw. It's Enrique Ruiz, and in his honour, the Brazilian national anthem. So there we go then. Enrique Ruiz tops the podium again, ahead of Klaas van Snelheid, and a maiden appearance on there for Maximilian Thunstrom. A great day for Lucas, with Marcus Thunder following his teammate home in 4th, ahead of a really disappointed Felix Perez. Rounding out the top 5 then, Simon, Ryan, Barini, Addison and Alvarez completing the point scorers, as Nathaniel Powers just missed out after his incident early on. He did take fastest lap, but that will be of little, if not no, consolation. And there towards the end we see Alar Kanga, who had that incident at the end, and Elroy Wagner, Takahashi, Barkley, Mayer and Hoskins with those retirements. In the Drivers' Championship, well, there isn't a whole lot of change then. Powers leads, the gap is down to 38 points. That's the smallest it's been in a while. Klaas van Snelheid may suddenly sniff an opportunity for this one. Enrique Ruiz has moved past Alar Kanga. He is 10 points clear now of the Estonian, only 54 behind Powers, so he does need to outscore him at the next round to keep it alive. But Ruiz very much back in with a shot then, as further back Hunter Ryan has moved past Thierry Zylander as well in the Drivers' Championship, with a really good drive then today from Hunter Ryan to pick up 7th position for Ocelot. That's crucial for them in the Constructors as well, as we see Downton still leading. It's 116 points. They haven't clinched it, but are on the verge. And it was a brilliant day for Lucas. It wasn't looking like it. First, we're looking to really extend that advantage, but in fact they have lost 5th position. Lucas are now 12 points clear. Further down there have been no other changes. But that's all from our race here today in Canada. So from both me and Rob, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for round 14 from Indianapolis in the United States.